Welcome back. Here with us on Trading Hour. Christy Mathai from Quantum AMC is with us to give us a perspective on the market. Christy, thank you very much for joining in. And, we were going through some of your portfolios, the funds that you manage. And we found that, banks continue to be a pretty big weightage for you. So let's just start there. And what is your overall market context, construct right now? And in that context, how do you see the large cap banking space, which has been an underperformer?
Sure. Thanks, Surabhi, for having me. So broadly, if you were to look at, analyze some of the quarterly results that have gone by for several quarters, we clearly see a trend where, earnings have continued to surprise in the positive. But the valuations are clearly run up, much ahead of fundamentals. And, that is more acute in some of the broad-based indices compared to the large cap. So there are not many pockets where there is value in our sense. And banking is one of the only places where we think there is considerable value, and especially the private banks. Now, there have been some of the concerns with respect to private banks are clearly the deposit growth has been lagging the credit growth for some time, and that is expected to reduce the credit growth going forward in a sense because your loan to deposit ratio are shooting up for several banks and so on and so forth. But our sense is that most of these things are transitory in nature. At a system level, credit growth does create deposits, over a period of time. And, this deposit also should kind of move up going forward. It may take some time. And if you were to look at the broader credit cycle, it remains to be very benign. And, the provisions or the credit costs continue to stay low. Perhaps it may normalize going forward. But we don't think it is much of a problem, especially for some of our portfolio holdings, which is large private banks who have proven, the mettle over the years.
Some of these large private banks have been long-term wealth creators, so they've proven their wealth over a longer period. But in the short term, banks like HDFC Bank, which is the largest weight, I think, in your value fund, long-term value equity fund. Now, it's going through troubled times. The stock has corrected. In this year, when we've seen the stock correct post its earnings, did you top up your weightage holding in the stock?
Yeah, so we don't want to talk stock by stock, but yeah, in this specific case, we have upped our positions in most of these names because some of them are trading at decadal low in terms of valuations. And while there could be certain near-term issues in terms of NIMs or be it, as I said, on the, let's say, 1 year out credit outlook in terms of growth. But if you were to take a medium term, which is upwards of 3 years, we think, things will normalize and we'll get to see that.
Okay.
Okay. So, just tell us that from here on, how are you looking at the whole industrial side of the market as well? Because that's been the best performing leg, right? The CapEx plays, industrials, PSU stocks. So where is your view on this?
Right. So within the industrial space, we did have, an allocation to MNC name. We recently exited out of that position. And the primary driver here was valuations. We entered somewhere, in the COVID season when, the valuation was dirt cheap in that sense. And but by any stretch of imagination, especially some of these CapEx linked themes, we don't find valuations attractive by any stretch of imagination. So while the growth may continue to be there, but valuations are not near our comfort zone, especially in a value portfolio. The whole PSU theme, again, we kind of entered these themes, let's say, a few years back when some of the valuations in these, pockets were very attractive. But by and large, PSU does have an allocation in our portfolio currently, but many of those stocks we are kind of trimming out, be in utility space, be in energy space. So broadly, we think, the valuation at which currently what they trade at and some of the growth that market is pricing in, the margin of safety has considerably reduced within the PSU pack as well.
Shorter conversation today, Christy, but thank you very much for joining in and weighing with your opinion on the markets in these sectors. Get into a break. On the other side, we'll invite the management of Saturn Credit Care. Mr. H.P. Singh, Chairman and MD, joins in next.